call to order the North Fair Oaks Community Council. And I'd like to start off with a roll call, please.
Councilmember Dale Miller.
Here.
Councilmember John Schott.
Here.
Councilmember Beatriz Cerrillo.
Here.
Councilmember Rafael Avendaño.
Present.
And Chair Linda Lopez.
Here. So, let's see, absent Laura Kaplan, she's, I believe she's out of the country. And then Esperanza Vasquez gave notice that she was not able to attend, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to also start with the public comment, and we have the little cards here for you to fill out if you wish to make a public comment. You'd have up to 2 minutes to speak on anything besides what's on the agenda, so any other topic. And just fill in the slip and bring it up to the front here. Thank you. Okay. I'll put that in the back. Okay, so Debbie Torres wants to make some comments. And Debbie, they set up the podium right over there. Oh, okay. Any comments on anything that's not on the agenda? No. Okay. And that's the same with Janet Davis. Oh, that's right, you do. Okay. So Janet, would you like to take the podium there? I don't like the way this mic is.
For those of you that don't, am I on? I can't get much closer, I'll be eating it. Am I on now? Okay. I want to tell people who don't know that yesterday the Planning Commission made one of the most stupid decisions that they've made in some time, and they agreed to permit the parking exception for base. And that was after Tim Fox Esquire had made a comment at the last session that the unanimous decision of the North Fair Oaks Council was basically irrelevant. And I think it's about time the North Fair Oaks Council stood up on its hind legs and did something. I think for one thing, they need to get separate counsel from the county council's office, and they need to separate themselves from the county manager's office, which is now seemingly running the North Fair Oaks Council, and they also run the planning department, which makes all these stupid decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, Janet. Okay, I have a slip from Nancy Zaro. Let's see, summary. She's opposed to the facility, I'm sorry, what does that say?
Opposed to facility.
Facility traffic study not addressing issues of residents. Nancy? Oh, okay, thank you.
So, hi everybody, Nancy Zaro, 87 Columbia, Redwood City, so I'm part of the Selby Park. The North Fair Oaks, I just don't feel that it should be considered for rezoning until quite a few things are addressed. One, knowing all the development impacts of the neighborhood. Some of the current problems based on recent developments on Fifth Avenue and El Camino corridor, future problems based on the planned development for Waverly Place and the history of the county not taking serious our safety concerns. I looked at the traffic report that was produced, and the traffic report seems to address activity of vehicles and bicycles as far as traffic flow. It did not address parked vehicles on the street from daily residents, day workers, and local businesses. It did not address speed of vehicles, width of streets, loss of parking due to building design of this housing facility, residential facility, and also as traffic gets pushed in from the loss of parking, which is shown, then it would also push further into Waverly and Columbia's areas. Again, I've got some spreadsheets indicating where all the traffic is and how it would be pushed, but those are some of our concerns. And so until we can get a lot of these issues, again, redevelopment issues and the impact, they had zoned for 10 apartments. Those 10 apartments were never approved or they were approved, but they were never built. So we've never even tested the effects of a 10 apartment, let alone this residential facility. Thank you for your
Okay.
time.
Thank you, Nancy. Kent Mansky, speaking on concern for neighborhood safety. Actually, agenda subject rezoning. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hi there, Kent Mansky from the neighborhood that is adjacent to the Fifth Avenue and El Camino Real corridor. Our neighborhood has serious safety issues based on the amount of traffic that comes in and out of our neighborhood based on being a small neighborhood at this very highly impacted, business-oriented corridor. And
Yeah.
I am totally opposed to any redevelopment in and near the neighborhood until the county
Yeah.
really takes serious the history of problems. The history of problems from the developments that have occurred in the last year have had a major impact on the neighborhood, and the proposed project at Fifth and Waverly right now has just had a traffic study done, and I completely agree with Nancy. I scrutinized that traffic study high and low, and it didn't even begin to talk about the safety of our neighborhood, the current problems, and the future problems that will occur with more development. Fundamentally, I am here because I do not want someone getting seriously hurt in the neighborhood. And I can tell you right now, I walked to my car across the street from my house tonight, to come to this meeting, and was almost mowed over. It's wrong for the county not to pay attention about the history of our problems, and it would be wrong for them to advance a project without taking serious consideration of its citizens' safety. Thank you.
Thank you, Kent. I would ask that people who fill out the forms to make public comment, please follow the protocol that we have. We ask that you not make comment on any issue that's on the agenda. But, you know, I realize that you had much to say, so I wasn't going to stop you in the middle of what you're saying. But going forward, if you can please just stick to the protocol that we have set up. Thank you, Ken. There are agendas at the back at the table when you came in and signed in. There's 2 action items on the agenda for tonight. We're going to reverse the order. So the first item that we are going to get presentations on is consideration of the lot merger and rezoning at 101, 105 Fifth Avenue, and that is the construction of the 16-unit story multifamily housing. So let's see, Tiari, are you going to start the presentation? Yes, please. Oh, you're doing both, is that right?
Approval of
Okay.
minutes. It's on the agenda. Approval of minutes.
Yeah, approval of minutes is.
Right.
Approval of minutes.
Oh, yes. You know what? I'm sorry. I went directly to page 2. Tiari, we need to finish up some minutes. I apologize.
No problem.
So before we proceed, then, we do have 3 sets of minutes for June 26th, August 7th, and August 28th. And we can take them one at a time, or actually, let's do one at a time. And hopefully you all have reviewed them, and I'll give you Do you need additional time for more review? No? Okay. So could I entertain a motion, please?
I'll
For the
motion
minutes?
that we approve the minutes for 6/26/14 as written.
I second the motion to
Okay.
approve the minutes of 6/26/14.
Any further discussion? With that, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Okay, motion carries for minutes of June 26. So you also have August 7th minutes. And if you need a few minutes, please tell me. You ready to motion?
I'll motion that we approve the August 7th minutes as written.
A second? Is there a second?
I second the motion to approve the minutes
Okay.
of August 7th,
August 7th? Okay.
2014.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of approval?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And actually, I'm going to abstain on that because I wasn't there at the August 7th. Okay, August 28th minutes.
This is a big meeting. The big one. It's the big
Oh,
one.
yeah, that was the big one,
This is the big one.
the big one. Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll motion that we approve the minutes for August 28th as
Okay.
written.
Second,
I second the motion
Okay.
to approve the minutes of August 28th.
and any further discussion on that? No? Okay, with that, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? No. Okay, so carried, all three sets. And thank you. So we can go ahead and start now. Thanks, Tiari.
Oh, no problem. Good evening. My name is Tiari Pena. I'm a planner with San Mateo County Planning Department. I'm here tonight to present to you the project before your meeting tonight, which is a PUD 137, which is PLN 2014-00118. So the project before you is a lot merger and a rezoning for a planned unit development to allow 16 assisted unit apartment building. 15 of them would be studio apartments. One would be a one-bedroom caretaker's unit. The first thing I want to talk about is how this project complies with certain elements of planning regulations. First, the North Fair Oaks Plan, which I know many of you have been involved in, and we'll go into detail about how it complies. But it complies with the North Fair Oaks Plan. It complies with the zoning district regulations as far as floor area, lot coverage, state and federal housing law, the housing element, general plan, and the plan unit development findings. And we'll go into each of those together. First, I want to show a graphic of the site. The site is located at 101 and 105 Fifth Avenue in the corner of Waverly and Fifth. How is it in compliance with the North Fair Oaks Plan? There's a number of goals and policies. Goal 2.2 is to promote revitalization through redevelopment of underutilized land to create housing. To allow also infill development of those underutilized residential parcels. New development that does not cause an increase of flow into storm drain systems, and to increase affordable housing opportunities, particularly for those special needs communities within our communities. In compliance with the zoning regulations, previously it was rezoned to PUD 133, which could be built now, which is a 10-unit townhome development of 35 feet in height, 6-foot front setbacks, and a 48.1% footprint. What's being proposed now is a 16-unit apartment building with an 18-foot height wall, 25 feet to the entry cupola, which I'll show you, greater setbacks, 10 feet to the front, and a 36% footprint. Here I have some graphics, and we don't have to go through all of them. It's in the staff reports, but it talks about the proposal, what is in the surrounding S1 zoned district, because this is now zone C1, S1, so the zoning standards follow the S1 zoning. It could go up to 3 stories, but it's 25 at the cupola, but 18 feet at the wall. This is what was approved previously. It is a 10-unit townhome development, of which 8 would be 2-bedroom units and 2 would be 3-bedroom units. So that's a view of what the elevation would look like for that particular development, which could be built today. This would be from 5th Avenue. This is the elevation along 5th. And again, I have the proposed townhomes and the new proposal today before you, and I won't go through all of them, but suffice to say it's much less of density and impact on that particular parcel. This is the what would be proposed, and I think there's a larger graphic of it up there if anyone wants to see it. That would be along 5th Avenue. Important thing to note is that currently on Waverly there are driveways. When this proposal is built, there will be sidewalks, and with those sidewalks will be the ability to accommodate at least 2 to 3 more parking spaces on site for the public, not for necessarily for the apartment building, but for public, which is not there now. As you see, that is the development showing the new sidewalk that will come into play here with parking opportunities. The entrance is here off of 5th. And all of the doors to the complex face within this courtyard. That is the second story. The one thing that came up is people were concerned that traffic would go through the neighborhood to get to the site. What I've done is I've pulled out from the traffic report that would not occur. The entry is on 5th. People coming off of El Camino on 5th would go to the Glendale overpass and come in this way to the driveway there. It would make no sense to go all the way around to come in there. This is what the facility would look like. It's the same as what's at Cedar Street in Redwood City. It's the courtyard within, the doors that face to the courtyard. Another photo of that. And this would be what would be along the street. So how does it comply with housing law? Well, government code prohibits discrimination from land use practices that make housing opportunities unavailable for certainly affordable housing projects. And in compliance with state and federal law, again, code requires that we don't put any additional requirements on affordable developments that we would on any other, which we didn't for PUD 133. And local agencies are forbidden from discriminating for developers or potential residents that would be moving into an affordable housing place. Okay, so compliance with the housing element, which I didn't necessarily talk about in the staff report, but we do, it's very important. And we have Janet Stone here from Housing who will be talking about some elements of it as well. So the housing element, the goal is to support new housing for low and moderate income households. As we know, this is an affordable housing opportunity for 100% affordable units. And the policy to amend the zoning to accommodate these types of housing opportunities and to encourage residential uses in commercial zones. So this is currently zone C1, and all around it is commercial uses. And also to provide affordable housing opportunities for special needs populations. How is it in compliance with the planned unit development findings? It would be in harmony with the North Fair Oaks plan. It is a desirable guide for future growth. We do need to have affordable housing opportunities in our communities. It will not be detrimental to the character. There are apartment buildings located adjacent to it. It would be in harmony with zoning and residential and adjoining areas. It is not a large building. It's 2 stories. It will not interfere with existing or prospective traffic movements. Now, we'll speak to that because that's been something that's been brought up about traffic going into the neighborhood. This is an affordable housing unit for those who most won't drive, and that has been studied by the traffic consultant with the other facilities that have been built. Those numbers are all in that traffic study. So the use of the 16 cars, spaces would probably always be mostly empty. It would be used by staff who are there, who come, and I'll let Melissa Platt speak about the operational side of the apartments. It will not result in overcrowding of the land. It's much less density than what is approved today, and it will provide adequate light and privacy. No daylight planes are, dealt with here. Everything is in compliance with all of our regulations for daylight plane and those types of things to surrounding neighborhoods. Again, that is the site. I just wanted to confirm and show again that people would be not going into the neighborhood, but would be going around the Glendale area to get in. And as far as CEQA is statutorily exempt because it is an affordable housing project, and therefore it's exempt from CEQA review. And so staff today recommends that the council make a recommendation to the Planning Commission to approve this PUD 137. And that will end my presentation, but I would like to have Janet Stone speak and then Melissa Platt to speak as well, and I'm here for any questions that you might have.
Can you go back to the slide where you have the diagram of the route? Yeah, because you talked, just go over that one more time,
Right,
please.
right.
And not just coming from El Camino, but the other way.
Right, so
didn't do that part.
actually coming from, most of the question was people turning left onto Waverly from Fifth Avenue. So this graphic shows that they would not do that. And I don't have a graphic that shows the other direction coming off of Middlefield, but what I will show you, if I can get to it quickly, is the site plan that shows, let me see.
Oh.
That is the Fifth Avenue, Glendale turnoff, and as you see people coming the other direction here from Middlefield will turn this way and go in. So from El Camino to the Glendale, from Middlefield, that way in. They're going to come in from, if they're coming off of El Camino, they're going to take the Glendale overpass. If they're coming from Middlefield, they're going to turn here and turn in onto Fifth. They're already on Fifth, but they have to turn into that. There's a median strip between the two.
Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead with the presentations, and then if there's any questions, we're going to allow that to happen, okay? But let's finish up
Okay, so I'll call
presentations.
Janet Stone to come
Okay,
up, and
please.
we do have Diana Shu from DPW if there's any specific questions on the traffic report
Okay,
as well.
thank you. No.
Thank you, Tiari. I'm Janet Stone. I'm the Housing Policy and Development Manager for the County Department of Housing, and I'm happy to be here tonight to speak about the project. And I am speaking on behalf of the department. Waverly Place will make an important contribution to the county's limited supply of affordable and supportive housing. It's modeled after two high-quality and well-managed existing apartment complexes, one in Redwood City and the other in Belmont, built and managed by the Mental Health Association of San Mateo County. The Department of Housing is strongly in support of Waverly Place, and we believe that the developer, Mental Health Association, is very qualified to develop and manage this housing. But my remarks tonight are not primarily to tell you how much this apartment complex will be needed for vulnerable people in our community, or how well designed or well managed it will be, although all of those things are true. I want to highlight two additional things this evening that Tiari has touched upon. The first is the housing element, and in particularly the policies within that, many policies designed to encourage affordable and supportive housing, such as Waverly Place. And secondly, I want to talk a little bit more about the state efforts over the last few years to adopt statutes that require cities and counties to actively support the provision of affordable housing. So let's come back to the first topic, that the county has put in place many policies designed to encourage affordable and supportive housing. These policies apply to all the unincorporated areas of the county, including North Fair Oaks. Now, the policies that I'm referring to, which are contained in the housing element, are the county's guiding principles that govern all land use decisions. They are not optional, and the county and its decision-making bodies are required to make decisions that are consistent with these policies. Let me just mention a few of these policies, and Tiara has listed some in her presentation, but I want to go a little bit more into some of these, and I'll be brief. One of the major goals is to support the production of new housing of diverse size and type that is affordable to moderate, low, very low, and extremely low-income households. And Waverly Place would be affordable to extremely low-income households. Another important goal, promote equal housing opportunities that increase the availability of housing to all persons, regardless of age, race, sex, sexual orientation, marital status, ethnic background, income, disability, and other arbitrary factors. Let me just mention a couple others. Tiara mentioned supporting the development of affordable and special needs housing on available sites. So the county is to continue to support development of appropriate sites, including but not limited to those identified in the housing element. Policy 23, support site acquisition for affordable housing. Number 24, grant density bonuses, although this project is not asking for a density bonus, for development of affordable housing. Use available programs to support the financing of affordable housing, and the Department of Housing has awarded the project some funds so far. Provide special affordable housing for supportive services for special needs populations. And this project is one of those. And then two others that I want to end with as far as housing element policies. Number 36, amend the zoning codes, building codes, and permitting procedures to facilitate higher density and special needs housing. So the county is supposed to remove constraints, including that if the parking regulations, for instance, are that would be applied to a market rate development, actually get in the way of building affordable housing, the county is supposed to actually revise those zoning regulations, and effectively by noting that the parking required for this project will actually be less than what the applicant is proposing, that it'll be less than 16 units. That's in the spirit of noting that special needs housing often requires less parking than your typical condo or apartment development. And then the last policy in the housing element, this specifically is about parking. Number 38, update parking standards to facilitate affordable and transit-oriented development. Revise the parking requirements to reflect the parking needs of different types of multifamily, special needs, and affordable housing, which are often lower than those of single-family residential uses and may be significantly lower than the county's existing standards. So I would say that really applies to Waverly Place, which will not have as much need for parking as market rate, say, condo development. So secondly, I mentioned that I wanted to speak a little bit about state, that the state has made special effort to adopt statutes that require cities and counties to actively support the provision of affordable housing. So let me just mention a couple of these. in a little bit more detail than was mentioned. Senate Bill 2, which is now called the Housing Accountability Act, limits the denial of emergency shelter, transitional, and supportive housing. So what that means is that bodies such as the Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors, as other bodies in the state, are limited in their ability to deny affordable and supportive housing except under very strict provisions. Those have to be met. Another state statute that says local and state governments have a responsibility to use the powers vested in them to facilitate the improvement and development of housing in order to make adequate provision for the housing needs of all economic sections of the community. It's the policy of the state that a local government may not reject or make infeasible housing developments that contribute to meeting the needs determined pursuant to this article without a thorough analysis of the economic, social, and environmental effects of that action. So these are some of the state laws, and of course there's laws about discrimination against people based on their characteristic, and it's particularly called out that mental disability is one of the characteristics that a body such as this may not make any decisions that discriminate against potential residents because of a characteristic like mental disability. So just want to conclude and say that I hope you will give a recommendation of approval to the Waverly Place housing development because it's really an excellent example of affordable housing, much needed, and it will contribute to our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Janet. Melissa, are you going to say a few things also? Okay. Melissa, may I ask that, well, I'm sure you have your presentation, but could you speak more to the issue about the parking, please, and traffic? Thank you.
So, good evening. I'm Melissa Platt. I'm the Executive Director for the Mental Health Association. Thank you for the opportunity to make the presentation and your consideration of our application. We have been in existence since 1958, and I tell you that because I think it's always worrisome if someone comes into your neighborhood and they seem as though they don't have a long history or successful history. What I can assure you, or I can try to assure you, is that we've been providing direct services to the clients that we propose to serve in this facility since 1970. And we've developed those programs slowly over time because we wanted to be sure that what we were doing was the right thing. We wanted to be sure that we were able to be successful and we were able to get people off the streets and housed, but not just housed, to give them a home and an opportunity for a future. And so I think that is what this culminates in, is our desire to provide 16 individuals, 15 plus a resident manager, with a home and a chance for a future that's different than what they've had in the past or what's been available to them. Again, it's 16 units altogether, 15 studio apartments, 1 on-site resident manager. So we will be hiring somebody who lives on-site. They will definitely have a vested interest in making sure that things run well. The people who move in there will certainly be screened because we're looking for people who have a desire to live there, who have a need and a desire. And like other projects that we've developed, we will have on-site support staff. The idea is that we don't just take somebody off the streets and put them in housing and expect everything to go well. What we want to do is be able to help people articulate goals, help people go back to school, go to work, do volunteer work, do something meaningful with their lives. And that's been proven at our other sites. That's what's happened, and we're very pleased to be able to report that to you. But I also understand the concerns of the neighborhood. It does provide a development that you don't know much about. And speaking to the parking in particular and the traffic, I thoroughly understand. These are small streets. They're obviously, from every report that I've had from the neighbors, there's a lot of parking from other businesses and from people going to other businesses. However, we currently have 10 different sites that have residential units in them, and none of our parking to date has been overflow, or even extensively used. In our Belmont site, it's 25 units of apartments. We have 26 parking places, and we use 5 on a regular basis, and that includes staff. At our Cedar Street apartments, we were able to receive a waiver. We have 15 apartments. We have 8 parking places, and we typically, I think the traffic study reported that at the highest level of usage was 6 parking places were used. So our intent is not to impact the neighborhood negatively. Our intent is to be good neighbors. And that was the reason we didn't request a parking waiver. We're looking at the fact that we didn't want to negatively create problems for the neighbors. We looked around and were told we could develop 3 stories. We said no, in keeping with our neighbors, 2 stories was adequate. We looked at the idea of, well, you could ask for parking waivers. We decided no. We want to at least provide parking for each of the units and make it accessible should it be needed. And other than that, I think I would like to just assure you that this is a highly needed project. I think right now the people that we see, the people that we serve, have desperate needs for housing, and it doesn't serve our community well if they become homeless, or if they end up in jail, or if they end up in the hospital because they don't have housing. So I appreciate your consideration of this, and I certainly would welcome any questions you might have.
Okay, I think now at this point, if council members have questions, we'll start here. And can you stay there, Melissa? Thanks. And then we'll take public comment.
So I have a question about, you said that the residents would be training and in programs and maybe get into work. So wouldn't they need a car to go to work?
Our residents are almost exclusively living on somewhere between $300 and $900 per month. They will be charged rent. They'll pay rent for the units. What we found is that after they pay rent, they typically do not have enough money for cars. And for most of them, they do have transit passes. So the reason for the location as it is, and with all of our other locations, is so that we're close to the bus line. At our Cedar Street site, we also have both visitor bike parking as well as interior courtyard bike parking for the residents. Most of them have bikes, not cars.
And Melissa, could that be something that you, as part of the screening for the applicants, that you do kind of a, not an equal distribution, but some kind of a, where in other words, to accept more applicants who don't have cars? I know you can't, that's not a criteria, but I mean, just to keep that in mind.
No, I
so
thoroughly
that there's
understand.
not going to be a need for additional parking outside of the parking lot.
Right, and I do understand, unfortunately, it's not something we can screen for. We can't include that because we could be accused of discriminating. And we also, to be perfectly honest, it might entice somebody to not tell us the truth, or to, give up their car and then buy one later. I think, the idea is that we want to get to know our residents and we want them to know us and trust us so that we have an open, honest relationship. And our experience has shown that very few of our residents have cars. Those who are paying rent. There's a lot of people out there who have cars when they have no opportunity for housing because they're living in them. But for most of our clients, once they've gotten housing, if they had a car, they gave it up because it's just too expensive. Understand, we also require that if somebody has a car and they're parking it on site, we expect it to be registered and we expect it to be insured. Mm-hmm. And that's expensive. And our clients typically don't have the money to afford that.
Okay,
I
thank you.
have a question.
Go ahead.
So based on the report, I noticed that bicycles are the primary mode of transportation for some of the residents, although it indicates that there's no designated bicycle parking yet in the plan. So aside of promoting equal housing, I think we do need to provide equal transportation means of bicycling. Mm-hmm. I think having a plan with the organization to promote bicycling for residents where they get incentives to be bikers, and also for your caretakers to have some sense of urgency to bike to work. And that will alleviate some parking issues. How can the organization supplement that, right? With, say, +3 Network, where you see and you monitor your staff's activity with physical activity, and you see that and you promote it, and your residents are being healthy and the whole organization is healthy. I think that if you design an infrastructure that your residents and also the community can see, it can show what you're going to get with the whole biking movement. And also it can be something where you can train your residents to do so that it could help everybody out and they could be models towards future housing developments. So I think that's something that definitely needs to be changed because it isn't on there yet. And it's a concern for me because I know that the movement of Fifth and Middlefield is going to be a bicycle movement, as my kids call it, the youth I work with. So I think that not only youth need it, but adults.
I completely agree, and I think, one of the things we did at our Belmont Apartments was that we got a foundation grant and we bought bicycles that our clients can borrow. And, if that's something that we can do here, more power to us for just those reasons.
Melissa, can you speak to what type of neighborhood participation you're going to promote?
Well, our hope is that, as I think I mentioned to the council at a study session, we have said that at the preliminary screening at both our Belmont and our Cedar Street, and it's preliminary, it's not confidential personal private information, but preliminary screening, we had the City of Belmont police lieutenant, and in Redwood City, we had a lieutenant from the Redwood City Police Department. And so our, expectation, hope was that perhaps somebody from the Sheriff's Department would sit on a preliminary screening panel. But beyond that, we will have on-site staff, we'll have an on-site resident manager who will be available by phone 24 hours a day should there be a need. And beyond that, our office is on Spring Street at Hurlingame. We are 5 minutes from this site, and anyone is able to call us at any time should there be other issues. And that program is our emergency shelter, which operates 24 hours a day. So we also, and I've said this, and I don't know if you'll take us up on it, I hope you will perhaps, but we have a community room, and our community room at Cedar Street has been used by other people, and we're very, very proud of it, and we like to show it off. And if there's a possibility for neighborhood meetings to occur in our community room, we would welcome it.
Okay, thank you.
Melissa, what, for the Cedar Street and Belmont facilities, what's the proximity of those facilities to residential neighborhoods?
The proximity isn't to quite as dense neighborhoods. The Belmont Apartments is actually, there's an underpass, and on the other side of the underpass is a lot of single-family homes. And on the other side of us are businesses, and then across the street, there's a hotel and then single-family homes again. At our Cedar Street site, we have a house directly adjacent to us. There's a couple of houses around us, but again, we are not quite as close in proximity to the denseness of a neighborhood like Selby Lane.
And what has the experience been were we to poll the neighbors in those neighborhoods?
I don't think, to my knowledge, there has been an issue, concern, complaint. We do meet with our neighbors. We do provide, when there has been any issue of concern, we've tried to respond quickly and in the most effective way possible. I think when we first opened Cedar Street, our next door neighbor had a concern, came and talked to us, and was very pleased with the result, such that we got a report from the city of Redwood City saying that they had gotten a call telling the city that they were so pleased with our result that they were glad to have us as a neighbor.
Second, on a different topic related to parking issues, if you expect that parking would be underutilized, would there be the opportunity to strike a deal with some of the neighboring merchants along Fifth to use some of your excess parking and thereby take pressure off of the Waverly Street neighborhood?
I think it's something we could talk about. I can't make a commitment to that right this minute, because I'm not sure what the expectation would be or the request. But we could talk about it,
Well,
in
I
particular
mean,
during the daytime
yeah.
hours.
At the very beginning of this whole process, I mean, that had been brought up about the collaboration with, for example, Samaritan House, which is directly across the street from that site. And I didn't hear anything more about that. Is that not a possibility, or?
In terms of what?
As far as, well, you know what? Actually, I'm going to hold off on my comments and because I want to have time to hear public comments, because we have a full agenda. So
We do, I mean, we do definitely have.
I'll hold off on that.
We
but-
definitely do have a collaborative relationship with Samaritan House that runs the clinic. We have no, articulated plan.
I'm talking about the parking space, Melissa.
We do not have a plan. That was,
Okay.
our point was to make the 16 spaces available, believing that we really are not going to need them.
Okay.
I have one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think one more thing to add on my part is to have some green space for the residents so that they could feel at one with the community. I think that just adding that that extra thing for them to maybe grow their own crops so they don't have to, cross the street or anything, as far as if it's easier for them to grow their own foods, that would be awesome, So if there's some way to have a garden in there.
So the interior courtyard includes that?
Nice.
The interior courtyard, and if you were to look at the ones on Cedar Street, the idea was that we wanted to present an interior courtyard that was extremely inviting, that people felt safe, felt comfortable, and could have some experience with nature. And please come to Cedar Street so I can show it to you, because I think people get a very different perspective once they walk through those doors and they see that the interior is welcoming, it's warm, it's green, it's drought tolerant, but it has things that keep people there. We don't want to create space that people want to run from. We want to create space where people feel like home and they want to be there.
Yeah, and I think that's the main point. Like, this is a promised community for everyone,
Yeah.
and we want to make sure that it's green everywhere. So I want to make sure that
I agree.
that's said.
Okay. If council has no other questions right now, can we go ahead and get some public comment? You're going to have, if somebody wants to comment, please, 3 minutes. That's a lot of time, actually, isn't it?
It's 2 minutes.
Well, somebody put 3 minutes on here. We'll go back to 2 minutes then, depending on how many people want to comment. Actually, Mary Ann, you actually submitted this. If you want to go ahead and take the podium. Yeah.
10 seconds. Hello. Yeah, you just go for it.
Oh, yeah, just go there.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, my name's Mariana Tubman, and I live on Dexter Avenue. I've lived there since 1996. That's about a block and a half from this intersection. And I first want to say that I'm generally very supportive of the project and the purposes of the project, and I regularly bicycle by the Cedar Street unit and have never seen any problems or trash or anything there, though I haven't been inside. As a person who drives through this intersection and also bicycles and walks through this intersection, I have basically two comments. One is, which I think that taking the Glendale overpass, while it is technically possible, is not a very natural thing to do. And I think it's far more likely that people would be, unless they were specifically told not to, would be taking the left on Waverly, right on Columbia, right on Glendale Avenue, which is virtually the same distance. The only thing would be that they might be affected by the light. The other main thing that concerns me is sometimes I come out of the neighborhood that way. That is coming along, I'm not sure what the street is that merges into Fifth Avenue right in front of the building? I'm
I
not sure what
think they're
this.
calling it Fifth Avenue.
Okay, well, the
with
Fifth
the
Avenue
median.
merge there.
Right, with the median there.
That's rather crowded. I've always found it a bit dangerous, and I am a bit concerned about increasing traffic right along there. Just because in of itself, you have it's very hard to see the oncoming traffic. They're coming fast. They're coming up from underneath the railroad tracks. And I am concerned generally about, not impacting parking, and would very much want us to reduce the load on parking along Waverly and in that area. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments? Would you like to take the podium, Nancy? We got him already.
Okay, so
Yeah.
once again, I'm Nancy Zarro.
We got 'em.
The first thing I want to address is the traffic pattern that Marianne was talking about. I gave a handout to everybody. There is no sign on Fifth Avenue that people will take the Glendale Pass. What we're talking about is this is Fifth Avenue. This is a visual. People are going to automatically, there's no hard evidence from the traffic. There's no hard evidence that they're going to go this way around. Absolutely none. It's just a traffic study and the assumption of hypothesis. Naturally, if you see that, you're going to turn in there and then kind of figure your way around. This whole section I gave everybody reports is when this development is built, all the parking that had been here before is going to disappear. The Lopez parking, the street parking, all of this here is so narrow, this is all gonna go away, and it's gonna be pushed back into our neighborhood. Okay, it's not just that there's a lack of parking that we're concerned about inside the facility, it's the street parking, it's all gonna be, because of this, it's all gonna be pushed further in. There's only space for my picture in this street and all of these streets on one side for parking. Once you have that, there's two parking on each side of those streets, only one car can get through. Here, and my photographs show that. They're here all the way around. So it's going to be a huge amount. The other comment was that they are qualified to run the facility, but they do not have control of the residents or their guests when they leave the facility. So where the residents go, we don't know how they're going to affect our neighborhood. Can the operation manager provide us with a plan today on how they deal with neighborhood concerns? Do they have a package in place for us as a neighborhood to take a look at? The other thing is that the existing facilities do not abut to a neighborhood such as ours. If anybody drives to the Cedar and these other facilities, so the density housing does not relate to other facilities at all. Ours is very thick. And as far as the comments about no sidewalks, there are sidewalks all through this facility here. Everybody can walk here, here, and here. This median blocks the entrance to this facility, so you have to put it.
Okay.
I think you.
Nancy,
Yeah.
that's your 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Kent, are you giving us comments? Yeah.
100% of my comments have to do with neighborhood safety. We have existing problems. The North Fair Oaks Community Council is not new to the problems that we have. They are compounded with every new development, and those developments are long. We can start with Rick Lopez Landscaping. He occupies this building over here. Those employees do not take the overpass. They come right through the neighborhood. We are their parking lot. We are the route for trucks, and I would say 30 employees that park in the neighborhood. The Glendale overpass traffic study is a lie. AAA rental across the street just expanded renting vehicles. No additional places for cars that leave their cars all day long on the premise. Where do they go? They go into the street and into our neighborhood. La Petite, the new swim school. If they can't fit in the Chavez shopping market, they're in the neighborhood. The Shell expanded the Loop. All these business expansions increase the clutter and the desire for people to cut through the neighborhood and use the neighborhood as a vehicle to make their life easier and faster. We are the victims of that. Our children are the victims of it. And this is a fact that I have never brought forward at any of these meetings. In the early 2000s, 2 elderly residents in our neighborhood were killed crossing El Camino going into our neighborhood. And that is a fact, and that lives with many of us who live in this neighborhood. The concern not only is for visitors, but it's services, for deliveries, and all the other things associated with people's lives in contemporary society. And I believe I have used up my time, even though I wish I had 5 minutes to express my serious concerns about safety and seriously request the North Fair Oaks Community Council to really, really not shun the neighborhood's concern and I request that you not approve this zoning until these issues are addressed. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Kent. Yes. Did you, okay, go ahead.
My name is Jeremy Reed. I'm also a resident of the community. I live by Waverly and Markham. And I definitely mirror all the comments from the others in objection to this this facility. I appreciate the work they're doing, but yes, it does not belong in a neighborhood. What they did not mention, that they did mention to us early on, that this is a facility of people with mild to severe mental disorders of bipolar, schizophrenia, etc. Our neighborhood is already plagued with problems, crime, break-ins, car robberies, muggings. These things happen consistently throughout the year and to all of my neighbors. And I already know of I believe there's a sex offender already in our neighborhood. There's already a couple other people in the neighborhood that I'm personally aware of that do have some mental issues that are very much on my radar of people to stay away from. And I have a very young daughter, a wife. There's many, many kids in this neighborhood, and they're all very concerned on this level of safety of adding 16 more people that have issues, that have the freedom to roam around the area with nobody that is really keeping track of them. So that, compiled with the traffic issues, compiled with the lack of facts that the people are really presenting. There seems to be a lot of kind of assumptions and I don't know. And these were questions that we had asked them months ago that they still don't have answers to, which blows me away. So that's something that also I just don't appreciate. I feel like that's setting a bad precedent coming into this, just being very assumptive.
Time is up. Your time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Are there any other questions from council? I have some additional comments. I think the two issues that have come up tonight, and we've had a lot of study sessions, we've had community meetings where there was a lot of discussion about the population that would be occupying that project and all of that. But in regards to the traffic, I think that there could be some solutions to making that work. I don't think people will use the overpass to get into the facility unless they're told to. Melissa, you had said that residents and staff will be instructed on how to get into the facility, so as we don't have cut-through neighborhood traffic. The other thing, though, and this was brought up at the last meeting, signage. Nancy, you're correct. There is no signage there telling anyone that they can go this way to get around to that part of Fifth Avenue. The issue about the traffic, Mariana, that you brought up, it is an issue. When people are coming down that piece of Fifth Avenue to swing over to the left, to make that left to get onto Fifth Avenue to go to El Camino, that is a problem. It's a problem now. But is there anything that we could do? So I don't know. I was thinking of a blinking light or I don't know, something so that it eases up that congestion. I mean, there's congestion there now, I will admit that. But what can we do so that it's going to be, so that it's workable? I believe in affordable housing, and I believe in housing for mentally ill. It works. We have it in this county. It's important, and I don't want to be in a position that we are discriminating, that it's equal opportunity for everyone, should be. But I also understand these real issues about possibly having more traffic going into the neighborhood. Another solution, I thought, why don't we just red curb all of Waverly on one side of the street? The massage parlor has their own parking lot, but just red curb it so that there's no parking whatsoever. And I still think collaborating with Samaritan House across the street to at least provide alternative parking for the day laborers who use that area now, to get work. So I really believe that there are solutions. I really do. I do accept the fact that there was not a thorough traffic analysis, but this planning department was only going to look at this project and the peripheral, issues around it. We still need to have a thorough traffic analysis. The last one that was done was, who knows, probably under Neil Cullen. There's things we can do for traffic calming devices. So that, and then just one more comment, then I'll be quiet. The piece about continuing partnership with the neighborhood is very important. We brought that up in the beginning, Melissa, and I really think that we still need to have that as part of the overall program. I don't want something to come up and someone just has to rely on making a phone call. That, to me, that is not fostering partnership with the neighborhood. I think quarterly meetings or something with more substance. But just having the phone number of the day manager there is not sufficient in my mind. So really want to work on that piece. I think I want to go ahead, and that's all I have to say. But council members, John?
A couple of things. There was the question raised of loss of parking along Fifth and Waverly due to this project. Tiare, have you counted the spots and know what number of street parking spots would be on this property both now and if it were completed? Careful.
I think as we were looking at along Waverly, there would be the opportunity for 2 more spaces. And that driveway is really there'll probably be, at least if you look at the big plan, at least 3 to 4 spaces on that Fifth Avenue frontage area. And then, again, new spaces on Waverly that are not there now.
But there's no in or out on Waverly into that facility.
No.
So we could very easily red curb it.
Well, I can't speak to
Well,
that.
I'm just saying, okay. I'm just saying.
So can I summarize what I heard you say is that because of fewer driveways, there would actually be more street parking spots.
There will be more opportunities for parking on Waverly than there are now. At least 2 to 3 more spaces, because those driveways will disappear and they will become sidewalks.
Okay. The other thing that I think is coming through loud and clear is related to cut-through traffic, not only due to this project, but problems of people turning left on Waverly and circling rather than using the overpass. Has there been a study of the implications of measures such as no left turn off of Fifth?
I am not familiar with any of those things are through the Department of Public Works and not up for us to discuss
Okay.
at this point. But I would say that the association has said that they would make sure that all the residents, the people who come and visit or work there, will be aware that the entrance is through that Fifth Avenue from Glendale and not through the neighborhood going around the block to enter
Right.
that direction.
Beatrice, did you have any questions? Are you good? Yes? Yeah. Okay. Okay, if there are no further questions from council, I want to go ahead and move. Are we ready? Is someone ready to make a motion? No. I think we got the message about the safety, the traffic, and the parking. And we have to move on at this point. We've had numerous studies about this project, and I think that we have all the information. We had the study session, another one last week. Also, nobody showed up, so I don't know about that, but, okay. So I'm going to ask council where are we at? Where are we at?
Just please, for the record, these 6 neighborhood residents who were very active and had nothing changed, no information about it.
Okay.
Where was it? What's the circumstance?
It was Thursday, I don't even remember, the third Thursday of the month. And in order to refresh our minds about the different issues, because we had not met on this for quite a while, so we had the mental health applicant come in and give any more additional information, which is what you heard tonight. There was actually nothing new then from what you heard tonight, and I will tell you that. Okay, well, we're gonna have to deal with that later. I'm not gonna deal with that right now. And I'm not sure what happened, but there was notice. So, and I think you live in an area that is outside the 500 feet, the Markham area. Okay, so, okay.
All right. Council?
Study sessions are not typically noticed to the neighborhood. That is on the website for the North Fair Oaks Council, that their study sessions are the third Thursday of each month, and their agendas are posted there. For items that are being discussed for a decision, Those are noticed.
I think there needs
Previously, we did
traffic.
notice a study session because it was at the beginning of this process, but that's not typical.
Okay, well, then make the motion. Okay. Okay, okay, that's fine. Yeah, no, I'll entertain a motion. Let's hear it.
Okay.
And if we have a second, let's see where we go. Go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, go ahead.
I'll motion that we postpone our decision on this due to several factors. One, we haven't heard enough from the community. And two, the staff report I received tonight, and I haven't had time to review it.
I second the motion.
Okay, so we have a motion to postpone and a second. Postpone on, is there a timeline, Dale, or if it goes, then we'll figure that out later, or what? Just postpone it, we'll leave it at that. Okay, any more discussion on the motion? No? Okay, let's take a vote. All those in favor of postponing this decision, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? I'll oppose the motion. And we still have a majority, and so that is the decision, that this will be postponed until the October meeting. And see if we're going to, and then we could have an additional, another study session. We can work that out and make sure that we get any more information out there that we need to make another decision. Is that all right then? Are you good with that?
I'm good with that. I would argue that under special circumstances, we should notice any study session that we have.
It is on the website, John.
Okay.
It's the third Thursday of each month, and the fourth Thursday of each month
Okay.
is the regular meeting, so. But we'll make an extra effort to make sure that people get the notice so that this doesn't happen, so that you do get noticed if we're going to bring it up on the October study session. Okay? If I'm saying that because I don't know if it's going to be October or November. I'm not sure. Okay? Yes, Janet?
Can I ask you a question? Are you suggesting that there be a study session meeting and that a vote could not happen therefore a meeting?
Well, the motion is based on the need for more input and more information, so, yes, that's how we would do that.
Can I speak to?
Actually, no, because we're done with this vote, and now we will, like I said, I'm not sure if it's going to happen October, November. I think probably the sooner the better, but we'll need to work out that schedule through Supervisor Slocum's office. Okay, Irvin?
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay, I'm going to go ahead to the next item on the agenda, and that is the consideration to amend the planned unit development for Sienna Youth Center. And Tiari, you're going to make a presentation on this?
I am.
Okay, go ahead.
Sure of the show.
I would like to recuse myself as reason being conflict of interest from this item.
Okay, so can you be part of the discussion, or
I would like to recuse
none?
myself.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
This project is the St. Francis Center, the Sienna Center, which was built over on Nottingham and Buckingham, PLN 2010-00172. This also is a PUD, a planned unit development, that allowed the Sienna Center, but it also allowed for the construction of 37 parking spaces. Before you today is Sister Patricia? Oh, you're okay, wonderful. We have someone from the Sienna Center here. This is the parcel. The proposed parking area is highlighted in yellow. The actual Sienna Center is also highlighted in yellow. So there is SFPUC, and the parking spaces were going to occur for overflow parking for the Sienna Center there. What does that say? I need my technical support. Well, while they're working on that, what I'll explain is what the Sienna Center is requesting is that instead of the 37 parking spaces, they are to amend their PUD to allow 20 spaces and outdoor garden, community garden for residents. I'm not sure if we're going to get the graphic up, but, oh, here it is. Okay. So, thank you very much. So the council reviewed and recommended approval of this project in 2010. Let's see what's going on here. And, okay, so that is the parking that I showed you in that original graphic. That is the original parking that was approved for the 37 spaces. And so simply what what the Sienna Center is requesting is to have a reduction in those required spaces to 20, and then put in a community garden in that area that would have taken up some of the spaces. What's in green there are the gardens and little planters. The entrance is this way, and it does go out that way. So that is simply the request, is that PUD be amended to remove the requirement for 37 spaces to allow 20 to accommodate the community garden. That is the end of my presentation. And we do have someone here from the center if you have any questions.
Okay. Do you have a question? Go ahead.
What's the history of the change in plan?
I believe from the letter that I read and what I see in the staff report is that they have realized once the center opened that the necessity for parking was not as great as was originally anticipated. A lot of the kids are walking or riding bicycles, being dropped off, taking buses. So the need for the 37 spaces is not realistic any longer, and so the request was made to still have some parking, but that the use of a community garden would have a greater benefit to the community, and that is why the request was made.
So is there anyone from the community, that area, that could speak to that about the...
My name is Michael Pierce. I'm the chair of the board of the St. Francis Center, and have been on their board since 2007, and was integrally involved in the whole process of getting the Sienna Youth Center put together. I want to thank you for letting me come up and speak today. We're here, as the city staff said, because we'd like to reduce the required parking. There's a really big need in the community for the garden space. The garden space we have on the other part of the PUC right-of-way is intensively used. It was missed when it was torn out when they were doing the reconstruction of the pipes. And we have a long waiting list of people that are desiring to use that. We found through the center, the youth center's been a phenomenal benefit to the neighborhood in total. And there just really isn't any pressure on parking because of that center. The kids are biking, they're walking. The use is really community-based. There's only one person who comes from 8 miles away. All the rest of the children and people that are using the facilities are primarily local. So you just don't see that need. The actual structures that were there before the center was built was a collection of houses that had much more intensive parking demand on the neighborhood than what is there now with the center's use. So we really don't feel that that's going to cause any problem. And we've been operating for 2 years, and it really hasn't put that on. And the reason the parking didn't happen right away was we had been working with the PUC to get the use of that right-of-way space, but they had the planned construction, and we couldn't come in and put that parking lot in, which delayed this whole process. And since then, it's just clear we don't really need that space. We also have, which was part of the original approval, we reached out to Regency Centers, which operates the shopping center adjacent to this whole neighborhood with the Target and the various structures there. And we have the right and a contractual arrangement with them to do parking there for 4 events per year. We don't hold 4 major events. Our large one is the Christmas toy program that we do each year, but we have the right to do overflow parking there for major events 4 times per year. So that's kept in place, and we've worked on keeping a good relationship with Regency Centers to have that ability to do that. So we humbly submit that we'd like approval to do this. We really think it satisfies a lot of the different goals of having more green space, ability for people to beautify the neighborhood. We think this will be a much better use of that space than just having parking that really isn't going to be utilized. So,
Do the users maintain it? Who maintains it?
so the St. Francis Center would be responsible for the overall maintenance of this parking area and the gardens, but the individual people that get the plots within the gardens take care of their own garden itself. And if you've seen the existing garden, it's going to be pretty much modeled exactly like that. So it's a space for people to grow their own vegetables, fruit, and I think that's another huge societal benefit to the community as a whole, to have that capacity and ability there. And a much better use than just more parking space. Is there anything else I could answer?
Just to clarify, so is it accurate to say that aside from your major events where you've made other plans, you really don't have any times during the day or week when you need overflow parking?
No, we've actually had some internal studies done where we took photographs throughout the day at various time slices, and there really isn't an excessive demand. There's always open parking spaces at various times of the day along the streets. And we've worked with Selby Lane School to set up a program where a bus brings kids from the school directly to the center. Center staff come out and meet those kids and bring them in, so that we're not creating more an even higher concentration of traffic coming through the neighborhood. We've really tried hard to try to mitigate any impacts by doing things like that. So that's been the objective all along.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any comments from the public? Yes, Janet?
I've done extensive studies of parking, and he's absolutely right. The parking situation for the center is not the problem. The parking situation is caused by all the illegal units that the planning department hasn't caught on to in that area. There are trucks, there are several additional units that have been built in most of the houses in that area, and they're the cause of the parking. The other benefit is that the San Francisco PUC has been a dumping ground for garbage, for mattresses. The kids from the Sienna Center go out I think it's Friday, and they clean the place up. It's going to be a great improvement for that area, take away a lot of the blight. The parking isn't a problem for them. The county's own parking study that was vaunted as the be-all and end-all of parking studies for North Fair Oaks itself showed that there was no parking problem around where the Sienna Center is. And I think that this project should be approved. It's going to be a benefit. It's going to provide green space. It's going to provide some habitat for birds, and also it's going to improve the whole look of the place and get rid of some of the dumping problems. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Janet. Yes, Debbie, did you want to say something?
Hello, my name is Debbie Torres, and I own the property at 2651 El Camino, and that's half a block away, and I'm here to support this project. I think it's a perfect fit for the space. As Janet said, right now it's just used as a dumping ground, and I think it's going to be so nice to have the gardens, and the parking is not an issue. like I said, I've owned that property for 20 years. I know that neighborhood very well. And the St. Francis Center and the Sienna Center have provided no parking issues. And like you said, they have like the use of that huge space right there by Marshall's. And so I want to support this 100%. I think it's a huge improvement and a great idea. So please support it.
Okay, thank you, Debbie. Thanks. Council members, because we don't have a quorum, we had the discussion and presentation, but we cannot take action on this. Yeah?
That's true.
Yeah.
You actually need 5 votes.
Right, and so the fact that Raphael is,
I thought the rules were when we had a conflict of interest, that didn't count against the quorum. That's not true.
okay, so unfortunately, we will not be taking any action. This will also be postponed. Steve, can you answer that, or Tiari, or?
It's my understanding that we will reference this discussion in the staff report that will be presented to the Planning Commission and
Okay.
explain the reason that we couldn't have a recommendation, but
Right.
that the discussion occurred.
Right, okay.
So we would just move it on.
Just move it on, okay, all right. Did you hear that, Janet? Okay, all right. Oh, yes, go ahead.
Yeah. Because I thought if you have a quorum at the beginning of the meeting, typically that carries through to any decision.
We need a certain vote threshold, so not us. So if I can vote statutes,
Yeah, okay. So thank you very much, everyone, for the presentation and the information on that. We are going to move forward on the agenda.
Now we're going to get Raphael, Chair Lopez.
Oh, yeah, where's Raphael? John, thanks for that clarification. Yeah.
Rose.
So did I get this right? Those were the two, based on those two, pretty much?
The other thing I didn't mention was that the last two notices they gave us never mentioned.
Said Fifth Avenue. Okay. So, oh, yeah, no, I think you're right. Welcome back, Raphael. So the action was postponed because lack of quorum. We're going to, and so then it goes to planning. Okay, we have a supervisor's report. Irving Torres.
Good evening, council members. So a couple of notes that I want to provide to you is yesterday, Supervisor Slocum, along with State Assembly Member Kevin Mullen, hosted Connect 14 and was actually hosted at Facebook headquarters. And basically the theme of this conference was strengthening communities through technology. So we had a number of speakers that talked about just like, the use of technologies and how to engage community in new ways for communities and schools and civic engagement to utilize technology and have not only elected officials and nonprofits, but school districts and people all connected together. And so that occurred yesterday. And so this past Saturday, I had the opportunity to attend one of the North Fair Oaks Youth Initiative meetings where I announced that there is an application opening to recruit a new North Fair Oaks Community Council youth member. And because of your action taken by this council, this youth council member would have a voting action. And so there is an application that's out there, and the deadline to submit that is on October 1st. And so, for any youths that are interested, they'd be more than welcome to, contact us. They can also reach us at the website, nfoforward.org as well, or call the supervisor's office for more information. I also want to announce that the Board of Supervisors appointed 11 voting members to establish the new LGBTQ Commission. And their website is actually live, so you can actually visit the website at lgbtq.smcgov.org. And these 11 voting members were appointed by the Board of Supervisors to serve 3-year terms. Our office, along with numerous agencies, is setting up a domestic violence awareness event, and that's going to occur next Saturday, October 4th, from 10:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. And the location is going to be actually at Verbal Family Services, which is 2798 Bay Road. It's going to be a day of just information, providing resources and services to prevent domestic violence. Last but not least, the San Mateo County Poet Laureate is actually having a contest. And basically, it's called Poetry Is. So they are calling for submissions of your best place themed poems for the month of September. So the deadline for actually to submit a poem is September 30th. And for more information on that, you can actually visit the website, sanmatelcountypoet.org /poetry-is, where you can get more information about this contest. But poems may be in any form, in any language, or combination of languages, and up to 40 lines in length using the name of the city or town which poet resides in the title of the poem. So that's just a little bit more information, but we will, more information is posted on the website, and then you can always call our office to get more information as well. So that is all I have to report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions? I think we're good. Thank you
Okay.
very much, Irving.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, if we could have the sheriff's report, please. Lieutenant Tim Reed.
Good evening, council members.
Good
Thank you. It's in place of my normal report that I make to the council tonight. I'd like to invite up representative of the Sheriff's Activity League Green Team. They put on a program through the summer that cleaned up throughout the North Fair Oaks area. They used youth and youth mentors from the North Fair Oaks area to clean up, and I'd like to show their work, or kind of showcase their work tonight for the council.
Okay.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Mason.
I'm Francisco.
We are all part of the Clean Team. First off, I would like to thank you for allowing us to present in front of you all tonight, and I would also like to thank Supervisor Slocum, Sheriff Monks, and the Sheriff's Activity League for providing this program to us. The mission of the Clean Team is to keep our community clean and free of illegal dumping while inspiring the youth to take initiative and get involved in the community.
So Clean Team, it was a 6-week program, and Wednesdays in the morning we would clean up Middlefield Road, and in the afternoon we would do outreach for upcoming, for the community for upcoming cleanup, and we sent out some flyers on how to report graffiti and illegal dumping. Thursdays in the morning we would do a neighborhood cleanup, which we would go around North Fair Oaks, and we would clean up and with Green Team. And in the afternoon, we would do educational learning, which we had field trips to Recycle Works, and we had a field trip to Recology.
So the difference between the clean team and the green team is that the clean team is consisted of members who are 16 years or older, who were hourly paid or received stipends and served as mentors or leaders to the green team. The green team consisted of members who are 15 years and younger, who received stipends for the summer of $100 for their participation, and had a one-on-one mentor from a member of the clean team.
Okay, so the membership is like, so the green team has a mentor, that's the clean team, and so what they do is that they use their ideas and they use their ideas together to show teamwork, and we make a lot of progress. And when I went to a field trip, I was very flabbergasted because, well, the smell, and there were a lot of items that I see that weren't in the correct bin, and I thought that we could maybe help this problem. I learned that it's better to save the community because, well, when I was learning, I was kind of thinking to the process of what happens when it goes in the wrong bin. And so this, I'm not sure if it's a fact, but I'm just going to throw it out there. And so seagulls actually die because, well, the oil goes into the water, and the seagulls are mostly in the water. And I learned that that is very dangerous for our animals.
So some of the areas that we focused on consisted of Middlefield Road, which had a lot of garbage along the sidewalks and in the gutters. Also Fair Oaks Avenue, Friendship Park, around the train tracks, 5th Avenue, Oakside Avenue, Fair Oaks Elementary School, Hampshire Avenue, Hoover School, Taft School, and Garfield School.
And these are some pictures we took throughout the 6 weeks we were cleaning up.
So the results of this 6-week program. We collected a total of 36 trash bags filled with garbage from Middlefield over the course of the 6 weeks. So that would be approximately 6 bags per day. We collected 18 total trash bags from our neighborhood cleanups. And we passed out 500 educational flyers to the community for our outreach. One of the spots that we noticed was particularly bad was along the train tracks behind Coffee Connoisseur. There was a lot of illegal dumping like mattresses, tires, sofas, amongst smaller pieces of trash. And we recorded 5 areas of graffiti where there's a multiple amount of tags on walls or on signs. And we also reported 15 areas of legal dumping where there was a lot of sofas and tires, like I said before.
Okay, so this is what it was, and this is what we did with the help of Clean Team.
Okay.
So for future plans, this upcoming fall, we plan to do 2 Saturdays a month, which are going to be mostly the same. So outreach and education with the Green Team, and also cleanups throughout the neighborhood and throughout the community. We also look to widen our areas of concern past just Fair Oaks, so farther areas throughout San Mateo County. And we also like to widen our volunteer pool to all the other SAL participants within our other programs. And our plans for summer 15 would depend on the funding that we will find out. Thank you for listening.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for all the work that you've done. Appreciate that. Are we going to be able to see that on, is that going to go on the website?
Yeah.
It will go on there, okay. So if people want to take a look at that. Thank you very much. Lieutenant Reed, thank you for bringing the team.
Yes, ma'am. I'll just do my regular report next month. And
Okay,
I'll bring in this month's
okay,
stats with me.
that's fine, thank you very much. Do we have California Highway Patrol here? He's not here tonight, okay, all right. North Fair Oaks Forward, you're on?
Good evening, council members and county staff. Just as a reminder, Ellie Dahlman, Pat Brown, and I are representing NFO Forward Outreach Team, which focuses on engaging the community on future and current developments here within North Fair Oaks. So you'll notice this past Friday, we were part of the first parking day on Middlefield Road. This event happens annually at an international level, and it's based on the concept of transforming a parking space into a temporary park for the day. This would not have been possible without the collaboration of Land Systems Landscapes, which is a landscape company on Middlefield Road, and other organizations such as the Sheriff's Office, San Mateo Credit Union, Redwood City Parks Department, Kaiser Permanente, Connoisseur Coffee, and Chavez Market. We're happy to announce that it was a great success, with many community members, business owners, students, and others joining us. So you'll notice Supervisor Slocum's in the middle. We had a proclamation, and it was our staff with the Land Systems Landscape staff. And we had a business owner from Meineke that showed up as well, and a few others. So it was really, really great to get all the community together that day. So I'm here to not only thank everyone who made this event very successful, but also for those who weren't able to attend, I'm really excited to show you a time-lapse video that we took with a GoPro camera throughout the day. And I will be playing that, so hopefully you'll enjoy. And it basically captured the setting up, the breaking down, and the interactions within the day. So enjoy. Sorry about the music.
Look at that. Oh, wow, look at
So,
that.
just a very
That's
short,
good. Thank you, Ashley.
Yeah.
Thanks. So is there another one planned, or?
So it's an annual event.
Oh.
So it happens every third Friday of September. However, the concept is called a parklet. It was started by San Francisco's Pavement to Parks movement. And it was a great way just to show business owners what they could do with, just a very small parking space. And so I hope you enjoyed that. This video and other pictures taken of the event will be on our website, which is nfoforward.org. So if you have any questions or anything, please let me know.
Okay, thank you very much. Ellie, you're gonna?
Yeah, so in addition to Parking Day, we also held a community meeting that we co-hosted with you all this past Tuesday. Outreach efforts leading up to the meeting included distribution of 3,500 door hangers, personal invitation to business owners. We sent out email reminders to all of our contacts. And we had about 50 people attend, where we reviewed your recommendation for the Middlefield Road redesign, which for those of you who weren't at the last meeting, the recommendation calls for wider sidewalks to accommodate a variety of amenities, bike lanes, a 3-lane roadway, and parallel parking. And the council also requested 3 additional reports, which include a signalization and traffic management plan, a business sustainability plan, as well as parking solutions. So the community also had an opportunity to provide input on entry signs for North Fair Oaks. So you'll be hearing about that more soon. But next steps for the Middlefield Road redesign projects, for the Middlefield Road redesign project will be a presentation of your recommendation to the Board of Supervisors on October 21st. And if anyone has any questions or comments, please, as Ashley said, visit our website at nfoforward.org, or feel free to contact me directly.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Thank you. Anna, it's your turn. You're going to have a code enforcement report. Thank you for staying all this time.
Good evening. My name is Anna Santiago. I'm the supervisor for code compliance for the county. We have all the unincorporated areas. The one thing I did want to announce tonight is that we do have a new code officer that is dedicated to North Fair Oaks, and that's my officer, Kate Foster. We are opened a lot of cases, and she's actually engaging with the community. She's walking through the community. She's opening cases on her own without getting complaints. Although I still need your complaints so that I know, because you guys are our eyes and ears out there. It's only us, you know. And we have almost, in 3 months, almost doubled what we've had in previous months. So last year I had a total of 36 cases. This year I have 48. So we're steadily opening, and I have a lot more that are still in the process of investigation, so that's why they haven't hit tide mark yet. I'm sorry, you went to Excella. But otherwise, I think we're moving forward. We're trying to improve as we can. We are having open dialogue with the community, with having Kate walk through the blocks. One of the pictures that the sheriffs did with the graffiti, we've already abated it. So it's been taken care of. I wanted to go, we did it. So if there's any questions or anything, or I can introduce Kate and she can come say a few words if you'd like.
Yeah, did you want to get up and talk? I don't know how new you are. The format looks really good compared to the last one.
Yeah, I like this.
It's real clear and concise.
Hi there. My name is Kate Foster, and as Anna mentioned, I'm the new code enforcement officer. And originally, when I started, I was told I'd be in North Fair Oaks about 50% of the time, but it seems like such a busy area. I end up spending almost all of my time there, and I'm hoping that we can help improve the community together. So I'm really looking forward to taking in your complaints as we identify new issues of concern for you guys. And in the meantime, I'm trying to really target some of the obvious things like the graffiti and trash and mattresses and dumping, all those types of problems that the green team and the clean team have been addressing. I'm also finding those and getting on them along with other issues. And just a little bit of background on me. I moved down here from Oregon, although I used to live in California before. And I was doing code enforcement up there in Oregon, and it's very rural, so it's a different kind of environment. It's very nice to be in a populated area and deal with different types of issues. It's a good experience for me. Any questions?
Well, welcome to the county. Thank you. So you are actually going to be assigned exclusively to North Fair Oaks?
That's what I've done so far.
Okay.
Right,
All
I'm the dedicated person for that area. I do
Okay.
go outside that area, and of course, I take general phone calls and customers who come in, and so I don't just serve North Fair Oaks if there are other things that also
Got
come
it.
up, but most of my time has been
Most
going
of
to
it.
this
Okay.
area.
Very good. Thank you very much.
How do we get in touch with you?
You would call the main code enforcement line.
Okay.
So it's San Mateo County, it's, what is it, 363-4825? Yeah. And I'll be one of 4 people that answer the phone, but if your question or comment or complaint relates specifically to North Fair Oaks, chances are it will come my way.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any other questions from council? No? Okay. Thank you. Let's see, council member reports is the next thing on the agenda. Anything to report? No? I just have one, it's not a report, but it's a comment that was very disappointed about the decision about the Bay Area catering. And I don't know what our options are possibly to maybe, I don't know. The appeal costs, do you know how much the appeal costs? And actually, I don't know if the council's ever gone through that process. But I actually, I was not at that meeting. I was actually out of the country, but I know it was a unanimous vote to deny the application. Is that correct? Oh, was it? Okay. So, but anyway, I just wanted to note that I'm really very disappointed that that happened that way. I think it was kind of rushed through. I don't know what else was going on. But I think one of our options is to send a letter to Supervisor Slocum's office, just to be on the record that we got that decision and it was not a good decision. It's not in the interests of North Fair Oaks. And if council is okay with that, I will do an outline, run it through Irving's office, and actually see if we can do something through email, but just to be on the record. I don't know what you all think about that.
I agree with Linda that we came together as a team and made this decision as a team, and it felt like our decision wasn't, considered in this decision when it went to planning. And honestly, it hurts. It hurts as a volunteer for this community to just have your voice not viewed by the whole crew. That, we took time. We took a lot of time to make this decision. And I think they need to honor the time that we spend to make these decisions for the people that we serve. Ultimately, we serve these people, and we want to make sure that we make the best decision as a team. So I agree, Linda. I think that we should write a letter, and we should do the best that we can for the people that we serve.
Okay. Well, I'll do an outline, and as I said, it'll go through probably Peggy Jensen, or we'll proceed with that and then see where, but I'm going to want everybody to take a look at that. Irving, do you have something
No,
to
I
say?
was just saying that we'll be able to provide, the template for you.
Oh, okay, okay.
And then we'd be glad to receive.
Yeah, because the bottom line is the project is not in the interest of North Fair Oaks. And going forward, it's going to be important that we invite businesses that are going to benefit the community, not be a detriment to the community. So anyway, what's that?
I want to say something else.
Oh, go ahead.
I also think that we should be considered when these decisions are approved or not approved. We should be considered after so that we know what happens, as opposed to hearing from, a website or honorable people in the community that care about the community. I think that, us getting a council email saying, hey, this decision went through, great job, council, that an email matters to us. So I think that getting some type of information based on these decisions we make when they go to planning, for us to be informed on how it went, so we can explain to people, hey, it went through. Hey, I don't know. I don't like saying I don't know to people. It's one of those
Okay.
things where.
So we'll proceed with that then. If there's no other reports from council?
I've
Oh,
got
John.
one quick question. I'm sitting here, I'm still flummoxed as to why we don't have a quorum with 4 people. Aren't there only 7 people on the council?
So back in July, you
There's
had,
actually 9.
so just for clarification, so back in July, the council voted for 9 members on the council.
9 members.
So even though that
Well-
there's technically 7, but there's still 2 vacancies, and under those rules. it's
But
a
I
total of
thought
9.
the quorum was based on actual, not designated members. Is that inaccurate?
Yeah.
That's not how it used to be, or it's changed?
Seems that way.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, because when was the last time we actually had 9 people?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's what I was told by county council, so. Okay, if council members have nothing else to report, I would like to ask some motion to adjourn, please.
I motion to adjourn today's meeting.
Is there a second to the motion?
I second that motion.
Okay, well, meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. I know it's hard to get out on a Thursday night, but thank you for being here.